Determining market rent can be difficult for a lot of new investors, and it is a question I get quite a lot. Now, the easiest way is obviously to own property and rent it out. Then you know what you can get for it. You can try raising the rent and see how long it takes you to get to fill that property. But most new investors don't have a property they can play around with the rent. So there's three primary ways to try to estimate that market rent without actually owning any property. So the next best thing is to ask other tenants or landlords. You don't own property, but somebody does. Other landlords will often tell you what they're renting their properties for, and other tenants might be willing to talk about it. So by looking around the neighborhoods or talking to the people in the neighborhoods that you're looking in, you can pick up some information about what's renting and for how much. You might find some properties are renting for a lot more than you actually think they are. Another thing that you can do is the Zillow rental tool. If you go to Zillow.com and type in a property address, here I'm going to type it in right now and drag it over to the screen. Let's type in, there we go. It doesn't quite fit on a screen. Hold on, let me adjust this. All right, let's type in no. Let's type in Columbus, Ohio. Click search. All right, let's just pick a random property here. All right. You scroll down. There's your for sale. That's the Zestimate. But we can get some more. You see, this is the selling price estimate, and this is the rent Zestimate. This is what they believe the rent should be in this area. The next thing you can use is a pretty cool tool online called Rentometer. And let's go ahead and type in that same address. Let's type in, what one were we just looking at? Hope this was the same one. Just double check. Yep, 1250. And let's put in that 1250 rent here. And it is 4 beds. So we need to put the number of bedrooms in. Now what this is saying is the median rent, which is 50% of rents are above and 50% of rents are below, is $11.50. But the average rent is $14.40. So what this is showing you is there are some lower priced rents in the area, but the majority of them, of the properties, are higher priced at around that $14.40 mark. You can see 80% of rents are within $800 to $2,300. Now this is very wide variation in a property. So what I would do in this situation is zoom in and try to see which properties are in the same neighborhoods, because clearly there's a couple different neighborhoods here which are really affecting the prices. These ones are very high and then some others are very low. But by looking at the Zillow and the Rentometer, you can start to kind of get an idea of what the rent should be in this area. Then you can compare it to what tenants are saying and what landlords are saying in your area and put it all together to try to get a market rent or estimate. And it's very important that you know what the rent is and you have a very good idea or very accurate idea for your analysis. It's impossible to analyze your deals without having a solid understanding of what the rent should be.